Steve, Natasha, back-to-back violent crimes that started our week involve suspects with long criminal histories. And in an attempt to try to prevent these cases in the future, many, including the mayor, are asking what went wrong. And so we pulled a thread on both suspects today, and one of those led to an unexpected direction.
You have to ask the question, what was this guy still doing on the street?
As soon as Mayor Adams arrived on scene Tuesday night in Queens, he was repeating the question being asked a lot this week: how could this happen? On Monday, the suspect, Ramon Rivera, went on an hours-long stabbing spree across Manhattan, killing 3 people in unprovoked attacks. Police say Rivera has a long history of arrests and mental health struggles. The very next day, a man police identify as Gary Worthy sparked a confrontation with police in Queens. Firing this weapon, he shoots a police officer. In the return fire, he's killed, and a female bystander was also shot in the exchange. Police say Worthy has been arrested at least 17 times for charges including murder, robbery, burglary, and narcotics possession, prompting Mayor Adams to ask the question.
What was this guy still doing on the street?
Fox 5 took the deep dive into the histories of both men. Gary Worthy's recent story begins with being released from prison in November of 2021 after serving 11 years behind bars. He's been arrested multiple times since, including 3 times this year, including for 2 alleged attacks that were bail eligible. Now, the Queens District Attorney's Office confirms to Fox 5 their prosecutors asked for $125,000 bail, which a judge denied. At the same time, the parole office also asked the judge for Worthy to be jailed for violating the terms of his parole. The judge also denied that request. Sources tell Fox 5 the judge was Judge Edward Daniels, who once worked for Brooklyn Defender Services. And as it turns out, Daniels was appointed in April of this year by the man who asked the question, Mayor Eric Adams.
I believe in coincidences. Coincidences happen every day. But I don't trust coincidences.
Well, it's Thanksgiving week. So much to thank for. Thank for that the elections went the way they did. You know, that we're heading hopefully toward the light in 2025. You know, we're going to have a lot of roadblocks. I mean, we have a lot of them here in New York right now that's going on. We had someone went on oh man, how could I put this? He went on an attack and 3 people has lost their lives due to this. So this is mental instability. Someone who actually belonged either in a hospital or behind bars. He's been let go multiple times in multiple states. We had someone else that basically attacked one of the assistants to Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg. You can't make this shit up here. You know, you're hearing of Tren de Agua, prostitution that's been going on. I mean, the one in Queens has moved over to in front of a kids museum in Queens. We got that story next week. We'll bring that to you. Then, of course, the other things that are happening, the congestive pricing, that there's going to be a major fight for that. I mean, we got to the insanity where, a bakery that's been around for 140 plus years attacked by an ABC commentator, Whoopi Goldberg, off The View. And, why? For nothing at all. And this is the politics that has happened in New York. And you wonder why, and if you see my post-election special, you wonder why more than at least between 44, maybe to 46% of New York went red, voted, Republican this season. You wonder why? I got a message for Adams and Hochul. You better watch your backs in the next election. Kathy, Lee Zeldin was pretty damn close to defeating you. I don't know how you won that, but Zeldin was pretty darn close. The next one that could run against you could end up defeating you. Remember, landslide happened here in the presidential elections, and I call it a landslide. And as far as Merrick Adams, you're either going to be in jail, or if you dare to at least get away with this, you're not going to make it to a second run for the mayor's seat. Someone's going to defeat you, heavily. If you make it past that, a lot of people are going to put a lot of questions out there. But see, the thing is, both Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams, they didn't listen to the voters. They didn't listen to, the constituents, because they don't give a crap's ass about it. But I'm going to read this off from the New York Post. It's an opinion piece by Michael Goodwin that was published. It was toward the 19th last week on there. Especially that we're just hitting the holidays. We're hitting the holidays, and it's very important that we discuss something like this, especially going into 2025. Kathy Hochul, Eric Adams are death to voters' resounding message. Beyond their obvious role in separating winners from losers, elections serve as a lesson to society in general. They give directions on what cultural trends and policy citizens favor and what they don't like. That was especially the case with the presidential election. The resounding victory of Donald Trump and congressional Republicans was a clear rejection of not only the Biden-Harris regime, but also the ultra-woke, anti-family, anti-common sense radicalism that dominates the Democratic Party. Remember, and I said this on a couple of videos, when you're spending your holiday, Thanksgiving, go spend it with family. Go spend it with friends. If you happen to be in a group, bring someone that's going to be on their own. Don't listen to the mainstream media and the politicians that tell you, oh, if they voted, against your opinion, don't go hanging with them. Don't go sit down and have some food with them. They want you to separate from them. As everyone else says, this is a cult. This is a cult. This is what cults do. Separate you from your family. Let's read on. Trump offered a course correction with his positions on public safety, parents' rights, a secure border, lower taxes, and less government spending, along with a strong military. And voters across the country responded with an unmistakable support. Yeah, you got to remember, not only that he won the electoral, he won the popular vote. Okay? Think about that for a minute. Unfortunately, New York's leaders missed the message. Eyes and ears closed. Governor Kathy Hochul and Eric Adams are sticking to their failed approaches. Voters be damned. See, the thing is that they say, well, we'll try to work with them, but damned if they come in here to take illegal migrants and criminals out of here. See, that's the issue. As much as Eric Adams is kissing ass, he doesn't care for the constituents here. He never did. He was making money hand over fist, during the elections. This was called out originally before he became mayor. He says, well, I did, I'm being looked over by the DOJ because of my, I spoke out against illegal migration. No, this was happening before. I mean, don't take it from me. Take it from the mayor debate. Let's take a little look at that before we move on.
You know you were not. And so let's be honest about that. So why should we trust you now? You may flee again during a difficult time. I never fled the city. I protected the city. I wore a bulletproof vest for 22 years and protected the children and families of this city. You cannot say anywhere near that.
All right, thank you. Mr. Yank, 15-second response.
Sure. Eric, we all know that you've been investigated for corruption everywhere you've gone. city, state, even Barack Obama's Department of Justice investigated you. You've achieved the rare trifecta of corruption investigations. Is that really what we want in the next mayor? Do you think you're going to enter City Hall and it's going to be different? We all know it's going to be exactly the same. That's why so many people on the stage don't want you to be mayor.
They were looking at him prior to that. This, I mean, how much more? I mean, once it's on the internet, it's on the internet forever, and they'll never admit to that. Continuing on, take Hochul, whose name is synonym for makes everything worse. With the sky-high cost of living in the city and the state already driving historical numbers of the middle class and wealthy taxpayer to the exits, imposing a rapturous, congestive tax would rank among the worst all possible ideas. But Hochul not only did just that, she managed to compound the damage with false claims and a deceitful way she's playing with the timing. She suddenly and without clear explanation paused the tax before the election to protect Southern Democratic candidates from voters' wrath, then imposed the plan even before all the votes were counted. Her actions mark the height of cynicism, and she added insult to outrage by claiming that by reducing the planned daily tax from $15 to $9, she was saving drivers 40%. Or as her office put it, the program will save drivers up to $1,500 annually. This is only going to screw everyone outside that zone. Staten Island, Brooklyn, Bronx, Queens, Lower Manhattan. They don't care for that situation. They're going to try to make money. And that money is not going to go to the MTA. It's not all going to go to MTA. It's going to go into somebody's pocket. I'm telling you this. This is the government's idea of saving. You're now paying zero, but instead you're paying a planned $75 a week for 50 weeks or $37.50 annually. You will now be paying $45 a week or $2,250 annually. Presto, you've saved $1,500. Any more savings like that and we'll go bankrupt. In a case of consumer fraud, and if any private business tried that, it would find itself in court. But government exempts itself from the laws it imposes on others, and that's true. Here you have and we haven't even done the story yet, there's something going on upstate with the cannabis farmers. Their farms are about to collapse because they're not making any money. So that means the cannabis law is within it's going to collapse eventually. There's going to be no way of maintaining the level of cannabis that the stores need to sell. And the only alternative that they have is to go get it illegally or go outside the city of New York to get it, which most likely will be illegally. Continuing on, yet elections still matter, and with Trump getting a surprisingly 44% of the vote, it's probably a little higher by now, in the state, and doing especially well in some of the black and Latino neighborhoods in the Bronx, Queens, Hochul ought to watch her back. She had a close call in the election 2 years ago and hasn't helped herself by being two-faced about Trump's victory. Even as she talked about helping the state, she told others she rushed the congested tax so it would take effect before his inauguration. It was an amateur move. It still can be removed. MTA could end up losing their funding completely from the feds. Thankfully, Trump has promised to kill the tax, and let's hope he does. It would give commuters a lesson to Hochul and other Democratic dead-enders that there is a new sheriff in Washington. Meanwhile, in Albany, the governor squanders her authority and is widely viewed as a weak and a pushover for legislation and her donors. Remember, she had a spy in her midst. That's right. She claims she fired her, but, she was already in there and had already been doing the damage since Cuomo. She won't dare tackle the big problems, migrant, crime, spending, because that would mean taking on the radical left, and she doesn't have the courage to even try. She controls the MTA, but won't lift a finger to go after agency-bloated labor and construction costs after the legions of riders refuse to pay the fare. Yeah, remember that. More than 45%, that's probably what everybody voted, they are not paying the MTA fares anymore. Buses are not coming on time. Here out in Staten Island, we have massive delays. You could be waiting out at 8 p.m. for the bus, which is supposed to arrive about, let's use the S48 route, around between 8:05 to about 8:15, 8:20. It doesn't show up till well after 10 p.m. Think about that for a minute. Think about waiting that long. And say you're not from Staten Island, you live in one of the other boroughs. Say you got to catch the ferry. You got to catch maybe the S51 that goes into Brooklyn, and all those are delayed as well. Think about that for a minute. To hide her surrender, she busies herself with puffery and minor projects that she pretends are game changers. But she can't hide New York's decline and proof that it lags far behind the dynamic growth of competitors. One report says New York is on the path of losing 3 more congressional seats after the next census. Drip, drip, drip. Here's my prediction. This is from the person that wrote this. Hochul's last approval rating is a mere 34% and hasn't hit bottom yet. No wonder Republicans are excited about their chances of defeating her in 2026. Adam is also playing word games that fool nobody. Last month he boasted on X that he is hard keeping track of all the ways we're getting stuff done for New Yorkers. Actually, it's not hard because it's not much is getting done. Witness the background of the homeless madman charged with 3 Manhattan murders on Monday. Yeah, that's right. The mere fact that Raymond Rivera was on the streets shows how the mental health and criminal justice systems have become revolving doors. Rivera has had a long criminal history, with sources telling the Post he's been arrested 8 times in New York. And this doesn't include the other times outside New York as well. He has also known mental health problems, has had numerous police run-ins here and in other states. Nothing, some of that history, Adams said, is clear and a clear example of the criminal justice system and mental health system that continues to fail New York. Right, and you haven't fixed it. 3 years on the job, and the mayor still portrays himself as an outside critic. No, he considers him the swagger mayor. The swagger mayor. We didn't need swagger. We need someone to do the job. That's the important part. Sadly, that's become his go-to position when he says anything at all. He's offered no resistance to Hochul's congestive tax scam, even though any success at keeping cars out of Manhattan will likely come at the expense of city businesses, ranging from sandwich shops to garages to department stores and theaters. And although Adams was elected in 2021, largely because of his police background and pledge to tackle crime no sane person will ever claim, 2 relevant facts: the NYPD has hemorrhaged officers on his watch, and the current commissioner, Tom Donilon, appointed on an interim basis, is the 3rd person to hold the job in 3 years. The previous one, Edward Camban, resigned under a corruption cloud, which is still being charges will be coming very soon. And Adams himself, the unwanted distinction of being the first mayor of New York City in history to be indicted while in office. And remember, here's the other part, and we have that story coming up. He's named Sanitation Commissioner and heiress Jessica Tisch as NYPD Commissioner. Stay tuned for that video. That is going to be a rant that you want to wait for. That, along the end of his term next year, might have inspired him to take a more active, hands-on approach to major problems, including the enormous migrant influx that his office has brought nearly 240,000 people to New York. But Adams never complained about the open border, instead insisting on that Albany and Washington help pay for the costs, many of which were inflated because of the city's largeness and incompetence. Most recently, Adams adopted the Hochul habit of making false claims about being a wise steward of taxpayers' money. With the city already having spent some $5 billion on the migrant influx, he said recently his moves are saving taxpayer billions of dollars. I don't know where. His theory seems to be that although the entire cost of providing food, shelter, and health care keeps rising, the number of new arrivals have fallen, and some are moving out of city shelters, leaning to what he calls savings. That's more persuasive than Hochul's spin on congestive savings. by the way of thinking taxpayers are living in a safe, orderly, and efficient Eden. Good luck on selling that bull. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Now, the gentleman that, let's go back a little bit here. The gentleman that, Raymond Rivera, just to give you a little context to the situation. When this incident happened last week, he was already out of jail from August, from multiple thefts and assaults that District Attorney Bragg just like, let him go, time served. This is not the first time this has happened. We've had this multiple occasions. I can go back all the way back to that McDonald's incident in Harlem where the girl was attacked and that guy was out already for a long list of crimes and was out already on I think it was an assault or attempted murder situation already. You have all the illegal immigrants that have been arrested recently and, the revolving door. And we said this, the revolving door that has been going on with District Attorney Alvin Bragg, and they say, well, everything's fine, the crime is down and everything like that. No, the crime numbers are about as bad, going back all the way to 2006. You can look this up. They haven't gotten any better. It's gotten worse, especially in Manhattan. Yeah, that's right, especially this murder, and I'll tell you this, I'm so glad my mother is with my brother right now, because the Kips Bay area is the neighborhood where my mother lives. Well, she still has a place there, but unfortunately, she got an illness, and my brother's taking care of her. But basically, she might have been out. She might have been out on a medical appointment or something like that. Because this is, my family's home is only about 2.5 blocks off from Bellevue. And this is not the first, and I'll tell you this, just to give you a little hint of that neighborhood. Bellevue Hospital, not knocking on Bellevue, but they have their problems there. A lot of the arrest criminals are taken there for emergency, like if they've been shot, if they've been stabbed, anything, if they're mental issues or stuff like that. This is something that's been going on for a long time now, and it has a history of issues. Yes, you do have a homeless shelter there. They just moved, and I think, did they move it over to Lexington? I'm trying to remember. They had a shelter for people that were charged with cheese pizza. Level 3. Level 3. If you understand the level 1, 2, and 3, this was level 3 assailants on cheese pizza. And they were moving it from First Avenue to Lexington Avenue. And just to give you just a sense of the difference, First Avenue is mostly the hospital from back to forward. There is an apartment complex directly across the street from him, church and stuff like that. But further in, you have multiple schools over toward Lexington, more families, more tourists, because that's, one more over, it's Park Avenue already. And that zone is even though First Avenue is heavily trafficked, it's even more heavily trafficked on Lexington. They moved an issue from one place to another. They still keep the homeless part. And to give you a little bit of a story of an insane issue that happened back when I was a kid, and I've said this many times about the FALN terrorist group. Now, if you're not familiar with the FALN was the Puerto Rican Liberation Organization. They wanted, in other words, they wanted to turn Puerto Rico into Cuba, plain and simple. In fact, you might have heard recently that Obama had released their leader out of there. That he basically, this was back, I'm trying to remember this, 2017. And Obama commuted, his name was Lopez Rivera. He was serving 36 years in prison. And basically, he was released by Obama. But there was another figure. His name was William Morales. And this was back in 1979. He basically he was a bomb maker for the FALN. And what happened was he accidentally triggered one of the bombs, blew a couple of his fingers off. Police showed up, arrested him, took him to Bellevue for medical assistance. They sort of have like a wing in Bellevue that handles the prisoners, and they keep them there to watch. But in '79, he escaped from there, and I'm telling you, missing a bunch of fingers, he was able to climb down from from multiple stories down and escaped to Mexico, and then immigrated to Cuba in '88. He's still on the FBI's most wanted list, and there's like $100,000 reward still listed for him. Goes to show you, this is a guy they put in a neighborhood. Back in '79, there were a lot more families then. Not less single people in the way it is now in that neighborhood, but it was a lot more families. You got to park down there. It's not like it used to be today, but there's a park down there. Many people, that complex I was telling you across the street was just being built, and then it was already halfway done. There was a school in that territory as far as that. And you can imagine a terrorist escaping from Bellevue Hospital. This is the same hospital near where this homeless shelter is, where Ramon Rivera was staying at. No help for that. No help for him. No help from the criminal justice system. No help from the medical and the homeless shelter. It's getting rough out there. Rough. But I don't know if you saw this. I have to laugh at this. Somebody, I think it was along Fifth Avenue, if I'm not mistaken, Viral News Network, NYC posted this. Someone has gone around with a big message for Mayor Adams and Hochul that Trump won, and they put up signs all up and down the center divider. I mean, this is insane that this has happened. And it is saying, that the tax congestion will be removed. Because people are like, well, no, it's not a tax. It's a tax. It's a tax. It's not only you got New Jersey, Long Island, Staten Island, probably the other boroughs will probably fall into play on this. You got certain people looking into this as far as business-wise, and then you have the truckers union. Probably the nurses union is going to be jumping on this. The teachers union is jumping in on this, and many others. That should tell you as a politician, when you have the union sector and the cities and the state around you, or the tri-state area, are against you, maybe you shouldn't enact it. Figure out a way to fix the situation. And here's the kicker. Because this money is supposed to go to the MTA. Just recently, here in Staten Island, we do have one rail system. And we just got the brand new rail cars that's supposed to replace the old aging system that we have here. And it's the same thing, New York Manhattan was getting it as well. Well, they've just taken them offline. Who knows when they'll be back. They're having issues. This should tell you that people are rushing to buy things. People are rushing to do things. You have $1,000 garbage cans on the street. That could have been a better negotiation than spending $1,000 per garbage can out there. You got now a regulation for the business, the homeowner, and people who live in apartments. And it just started this past week for a percentage group of New Yorkers, is you got to buy a garbage can, a specific brand of garbage can to throw out your trash in, and you have to bring it out to the curb. No longer that you can bring out just your garbage bag and put it to the corner. This hasn't been done since I was a kid. When I was a kid, we had those big cans and we had to drag them out because my mother was a super. My mother, my grandma, when I was a kid, of course, me and my brother would help our parents drag out the garbage. And we did as we got older too, until my mother retired. But the thing about it is, at first, we dragged the cans out and dragged them in. They would get crushed by the cars, or they'd get stolen, to the situation, or it caused accidents, now they're bringing them back again. Because they said, well, it's going to reduce the rats. No, it's going to send the rats elsewhere and not outside New York. It's going to send them indoors. See, that's that people don't think to the policies that they're going to enact. This is the stupidity of this administration, of the governor, Mayor Eric Adams, and some of our state representatives as well. As a voter, we've been insulted by the mainstream media, especially the local New York media. Shows like The View have insulted the voters, and basically they try to make everything a political situation. The Whoopi Goldberg situation with the bakery out here in Staten Island. She says, well, I never mentioned the bakery. Okay, we'll give you that. But see, here is the stupid thing that you just said. I never mentioned the bakery. But you mentioned the cake. Now, if you type in the cake, okay, you'll get several different companies in New York. Guess who's on top? Holloman's. Yes, that's right. They're on top. Because they're well known for it, the highest rating. Even though if you didn't mean them, there are 3 other companies below them. So should those 3 other companies worry about people getting death threats, threats from potential people that just want to destroy their business because of what you said? See, the thing about it is you can't put everything as a racial issue here in New York. They're hard-working people here in New York, and what they do is they just cut them down to size. They don't give a shit. This is the same way the sheriff's department going in, Operation Padlock, going in, shutting down stores. They shut down one store for 8 ounces of pot, which was for personal use, and claimed it on there, and then the money that they had in the store disappeared. The sheriff was like, I didn't know. The NYPD took the money. Then suddenly there was money in his office. There's some issues there. And a judge found it unconstitutional, Operation Padlock. We haven't heard any shutdown recently, so I guess they stopped what they're doing right now. Because there's a lot of lawsuits coming into play right now. You violated several amendments of the Constitution. This is why they continue on. This is why we hear, like in Pennsylvania, they're continuing to count illegal votes, but the Supreme Court told them, it says, no, that's illegal. You can't be doing that. It says, no, we don't give a shit. We don't care what you say. They violate the law on a constant basis. I wonder why some people continue to vote for these guys. Okay, you hate the orange man, all right? But remember, the people that are making things bad is not the orange man. The people that you continue to vote for. And the other half, I got to yell at some of these people like Tim Pool and stuff like that. Look, you guys keep telling New Yorkers, move out of these big cities. Move out. We continue to move out of these big cities. The people that are the issue that shouldn't be in office take over. They take our property. They take, the things that, that are important to us. Our city. We need to stand steadfast. We've already done with the low amount of people. I could imagine if a lot of people that moved to Florida was still here, I think we would have had, New York would have completely went red. I believe that. And I know some people are starting to move back because there are some housing issues that are going on down there. I know that with some of the condos and stuff like that because I know they're hitting back on the quality issues that are going on, the construction issues, that has happened in Florida, especially after that incident where half that building collapsed. And you're starting to hear some people saying, I think I'm moving back. That's okay. Move back. Welcome back to New York. That's why I'll tell you this. If you look at the real estate market here in Staten Island, it's tight. It's really tight. I'm surprised we were able to get into this new facility that we were able to after selling our old home. I love it here. It's great. The people around me, they're average. They're nice people, and there's some crazy ones out there. But hey, listen, I have a full office now, two production sets, just in this place alone. Great place, great bedroom, great kitchen. Living room and every dining room. Everything is fantastic here, and we got it at a bargain. But now, we're talking to my real estate agent, and she's telling me, she says, "Oh, I'm still selling, and there are some people still moving and stuff like that. But there are less choices to look at than it was, say, pre-COVID. Now it's like it's not as much. That means a lot of people from outside Staten Island are moving into Staten Island." And same thing with the edge of Brooklyn and the other edge toward Long Island from Long Island City into Long Island. And this isn't happening because people are leaving Manhattan in droves. That's the truth. So let me know in the comments below your thoughts about this. Let me know, what your thoughts on all these situations we discussed today on Governor Hochul, Mayor Adams, Raymond Rivera, all the things we've talked about. We have another story coming out on there talking about the new police commissioner. Do check that out on there. We have a couple of other stories that are running on, but it is a short week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. A Taco Thursday will be on Wednesday this week due to the holiday. So comment, like, share this video. Hopefully today's the day I've earned your subscription. That little button down there, hit that right now, whether you're on YouTube or you're on Rumble. We really do appreciate it because of the thousands of videos you clicked on ours, and we're really, really happy that you did. So have yourself a happy Thanksgiving. Spend it with family. Spend it with friends. If you are in a big group, invite someone who's alone this year. Get a friend over that says, "Hey, are you spending Thanksgiving alone? Come on over. Have some wine, some drinks, and some great food." Don't listen to the media when they tell you, if you had a different opinion, not to go to family get-togethers or friend get-togethers. Stay away from them. No, don't do that. That's what a cult does. Spend it with family. Spend it with friends. That's very important. Until next time, thank you for tuning in, and stay safe. Have a good holiday. We'll see you on the other end. Bye-bye now.